Hey everybody, so I'm gonna go over the data analysis and how to make the tables and figures for the BIOZ style report. So on this Excel sheet, I have our data formatted properly. I have the temperature at the top, both of our incubation temperatures are here, and then I just separated the data by the groups in a vertical format. This is superfluous right here, but if you wanted to know where each data set came from in a group, I just put that right there as the reference. So to get started, we're going to calculate the means. So we're going to put equal average function. Then we're going to select all the 25 degrees Celsius data points, close parentheses, and there you go. We're going to do the same thing for 30 degrees. Be sure you have all of your data set to 3 significant figures. You can adjust this right here. This button will decrease the number of decimal places, and this button will increase the number of decimal places. So you want 3 decimal points. Now for the standard deviation, we're going to use the standard deviation function. Here. For the standard of error, we choose SEM in here. I have a formula written out. So it's going to be the standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. So to do that, you just take the equal sign, parentheses, standard deviation divided by square root of the sample size. And then she throws all the parentheses out. And put that right there. And for the other one, you can do the same thing. Take this standard deviation divided by the square root of the size, just 40. There's all the parentheses and there. I'm just going to be increasing the decimal places. Sample size is 40, put it close with them, and then remove the decimal places to use things. And lastly, for the p-value, we're going to go up to data. We're going to put data analysis. And we're doing 2 sample p-test assuming equal variances because our sample size is over 30. So we're going to select compare data set. The first variable range. So that's going to be all of the 25 degrees Celsius data points, and then variable 2. I'm going to click this button and select all of the 30-degree data points. And then you don't have labels checked. I didn't select them at the top. Make sure your alpha level is 0.05, and then click this button, output range, up here. It's just going to tell the system where you want the results of your text to go. And then you can hit OK. And what we're looking at here is the p-value of 2 tails. So this is our p-value. And we're going to report this number to 3 decimal places or 3 significant figures. So 0.64 is our value. Use the number of decimal places so you have those visible. This is our descriptive data here. So now we can move into creating our tables and figures. So you can see right here, we're going to have two tables and figures. One table is going to be the descriptive statistics, and the second table will be our means and standard of error. So written out the descriptive statistics for this experiment. We have the sample size, mean, standard of error, standard deviation, and the p-value. So let's go into making that table. And, give it a title, statistics, and first header is going to be our variable incubation temperature. Second one will be sample size. Then we have our means, standard of error, standard deviation, and p-value. And then we're going to have our variables here. I'm just going to go data sheet and pull the degree sign. Sample size is 40 for both. For 25 degrees was 15.0, which was 14.3 for the 30-degree group. The standard of error for 25 degrees is 1.11. 0.81 is for the 30-degree group. Standard deviation 7.01. And then for p-value, we're just going to have one cell filled, and it's going to have the one p-value that we have, since there is only one for both groups. So now we have our information in there. So we just want to format it looking neater. So I'm just going to highlight the entire title bar and hit merge and center. I don't want it centered though, I want it left aligned, so I'm going to put that over there. Then I'm going to put this box, and I'm going to have top and bottom borders. And then I want to make sure these are all centered, as well as this, and all of the titles are bolded. And now I'm going to do is highlight this bottom now and insert bottom border and is over graphic, so in the table. So when you're going to put this in your report, you can just Control-C to copy this whole thing, and then just paste it right into your Microsoft Word document for your final report. So moving on, we're going to have one figure, and it's going to be the means and standard of error. So I've written out the results that we're going to include in this graph right here, so we just easily can insert the data right here. So I'm going to go to the insert ribbon, hit this button, and then select the first 2D column graph. Go and move this down so you can see it. And now we're in the chart design ribbon, since we have the graph selected. And I'm going to hit select data up here. So now we're going to insert the entire chart data range, starting with the column labels. So we're going to just select the whole thing. Oops, I just have to need standard error. So you're just gonna want to make sure that this field called Y values has the data selected. It does, so I'm not going to change anything. And then for the horizontal axis labels, you want to make sure that the labels that you want to appear under each of your bar graphs are selected, and they are. So that looks good. Then I'm going to hit OK. So we've got our bar graph. It's Microsoft Excel chic, but we want to reformat it a bit to fit the scientific format style. So we're going to go through a few things. So while the graph is selected, you can go up through the chart design and hit add chart element. We have both of our axes selected. Now we want to add axes titles. So we want both primary horizontal and primary vertical. We do not want a chart title, but you can add one if you'd like. Now we want to go to grid lines. I want to remove the primary major horizontal grid lines. And lastly, we're going to go to error bars and add in the standard of error bars. The standard of error bars is calculating it within this bar graph function, but it's not going to calculate the way that we are. So we need to insert our own values for the standard of error, which I have right here we calculated earlier. So I'm going to double click on the error bar itself, and it's going to bring up format error bars. And you want to click on this bar graph icon here to change it. So under error amount, you're going to hit custom, specify value, and then under positive error value, select this button and select both of the standard errors that you'd like. Hit OK, and this one says the error bars that you have, the standard of error values that you have calculated. So we're getting there. I want to select the entire graph itself. I'm going to go to Home, change the font to Times New Roman, font size 12, and black font. We want our graphs to be bold, but also professional looking and easy to read. And that's what this accomplishes. I'm going to go ahead and give them axes titles. So I'm going to label my x-axis incubation temperature. And then I want to make sure I include my units. I'm just going to see alerts. I don't want to insert my degrees minus in the plan. But I do want to be sure to include the units. Really bad. I'm just going to resend it. And then go ahead and give it y-axis title, and it's going to be the number of eggs. Now what's left is this bar right here, this axis line. We don't want that there. We just want it to be empty. So I'm going to double click it. And under axes option, I'm going to go under this paint bucket symbol and under the category line, you're going to click no line. I click out. You'll see that a line is coming. Now I also have these bars that are way too thin, so I want to make sure that the width of the space between the two bars is less than the size of the bars. Right now, the space in between the bars is much larger than the bars itself. So I'm going to double click on the bar, either one of them, and then you're going to get format data point, and then under the bar graph symbol and series option, you're going to go to gap width, and you're just going to decrease the gap width. And you just want to make it so that the space between the bars is smaller than the bar itself. So that looks about good to me. I also have the bars filled with the solid blue color, and this is fine, but in general, when you're a way to save anything you're printing is to change this style to be a pattern rather than full fill. So I double click the bars again, and then we're going to do the paste pan icon. And then under fill, we're going to go to pattern fill. And you can choose from a variety of fills. I usually tend to go with a diagonal stripe. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that for each one. So this is what your bar graph is going to look like. The last thing I want to add is a line showing the axis for the y-axis. So I'm going to double click the y-axis and then pop up the format axis view. Then you're going to go to axis options, and then under the paint bucket and under line, you're going to hit solid line. You're going to make sure the color is black. And then lastly, we're going to go back to the bar graph icon. And then under tick marks, we're going to include major inside tick marks. You can, if you'd like, include the minor tick marks, but I tend to not to. So this is what your graph should look like, formatted properly. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. This about sums up my tutorial.